To take a great photograph, there are many elements to consider, but the most important elements to understand are the focus, the exposure, and the framing of the photo. The first element, focus, is the point at which your lens appears the sharpest, usually leaving the less important elements blurry or out of focus. This lets you draw attention to whatever the subject of your photo is, whether it's close or far away. The second element, exposure, refers to the amount of light you're taking into your image. On a fully functional camera, the three things which control exposure are aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. Aperture means how big the opening on the lens is when it takes in light. Shutter speed controls how long that opening stays open when it takes a picture, and ISO affects how much the camera digitally brightens the image. Each of these controls can be shifted up and down to create different effects and levels of brightness for your photo. For instance, changing the aperture will make the image in the foreground and background more or less blurry relative to one another. Shutter speed, on the other hand, will change whether motion looks blurry or sharp. For a normal photograph, you can't set the shutter speed too long, or the simple motion of you holding the camera will make the image appear shaky. For an abnormal photograph, such as a photo of the night sky, you actually want the shutter speed to be especially long, something like 20 or 30 seconds or more, for the light of the stars to be bright enough to see. The third option, ISO, should only be used in an emergency, because while it will allow you to make your image brighter, it will also make that image more grainy, producing ugly dots on the image. The final photo element is framing, which is how you position the parts of your photo in the shot. The way you organize the shot is up to you, but if you're not certain how to position your subject to make it look interesting, you should try the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds involves imagining two lines drawn from the top to bottom, and two from left to right. The points where the lines intersect are where photographers have figured out that people are inclined to look when they see a photo. The rule of thirds is very common and transcends a lot of different mediums. You can actually see it in things like Netflix originals, broadcast shows, or blockbuster movies. If you keep in mind the focus, exposure, and framing, you'll be able to take great photos no matter what they're about.